Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our Victoria run in Civilization 6. This is for the upcoming Civilization 7, which is going to be released February 11th. We decided we'd get one final hurrah of Civ 6 in, and we decided to play as Victoria here. We've done a good job industrializing through the ages, but last episode we were bitterly betrayed by the combination of Dido here in Carthage, with whom we are currently fighting outside Lipqui, however this is pronounced, and also we were betrayed alongside them by the Vietnamese, for whom Saigon has fallen, or they rather decided to join us instead, and we are now in the process of bombarding this location here, and we are going to push into Thang Long. We also have a couple battleships outside of there, but not only were we betrayed there, we were also betrayed by Hammurabi and Suleiman on this landmass here. They are not doing so hot in the grand scheme of things, having lost a couple of, states to the Free States, or a couple of cities. They are in kind of medium-ish shape, and we are looking to combat them primarily navally and hem them in while we push both Vietnam and Dido this episode. Really hoping to make some sort of substantive progress, but it's pretty slow going. We've been bombarding this city for some time now, and perhaps we should drop a ton of investment more into land forces and actually look to try and push, just buying troops out of Sidon and Ziz, but I'm not actually sure what the correct execution is. The way that we rolled this map makes pushing very, very difficult because it's hard to get surrounds because there's so many singular mountains everywhere, and also narrow passageways. This combined with encampments does make for a little bit of a difficult time, and the cities have a lot of defense. You can tell this is really the case in the terrain around Vietnam, where we have acquired two of these cities because they flipped our way, but we see these mountain ranges, kind of stuffed up by these districts, making it really hard to push in these areas, and hard to get surrounds on the city. You can see if we're marching from Saigon to Thang Long, we only get one surface area of where we could put a troop, unless we delve into kind of the water area and really expose ourselves to being shot out. So things are a little bit rough as far as the expansion goes. As far as tech goes, we are starting to enter the later eras and this sort of thing, and we are doing really well in terms of being ahead of the rest of the world in terms of tech. We're starting to get closer and closer to the latest tech, and then also we similarly are involved in civics. I think that we might go for a culture victory here, and so what we've been doing is we've been trying to buy up some cultural artifacts and this sort of thing, with the idea of maybe trending in this way. Anyways, without further ado, let's dive into it. So we get a World Congress here, and what we are going to decide to do for trade policy, we are trading a ton with Cleopatra. We get really strong bonuses with Cleopatra, and so we do want to make good use of this. I think we're going to invest in 2 votes with her, because she's likely to vote for herself, but also we don't want to get things canceled with us, so why don't we invest a little bit more, considering we have so much of this Diplo saved up, and we don't really need to throw our weight around in this, but honestly, we've probably been under min-maxing this minigame of this, and we also see public relations. The chosen player generates 100% more grievances, and other players generate less grievances. I think that we want to for ourselves, generate less grievances, and we'll also go for 3 votes here. This one might be actually a little bit tough to push through, considering how many people dislike us. This is a little bit difficult. I'm not sure. I don't have a very good kind of thumb on the pulse of how the AI votes on these types of things. I think we'll peel off 4 votes for ourselves, and then gaining victory points and losing victory points. If I'm not mistaken, Vietnam is ahead in this, but we're not trying to win this way, so I think we're going to say for Vietnam to lose victory points here, but also if we remove them from the map, they won't be able to win. We'll say yeah, sure, to the World's Fair, and we'll see how this goes. We also have coming in the Eiffel Tower. How's it going to vote? Which is going to be completed right here.
She is more famous than I am.
building up tall cities seems to be better with the districts mods that we're playing. It seems to incentivize building tall more than necessarily just having as big city sprawls as possible. We've probably underleaned into this, not having enough sort of farm triangles, but the urban centers have really, really nice buildings, and we can see what has happened here. Trade policy to the chosen player, generate more gold. That's fine, because this guy's like, we got an ally with him. Chosen player generates more grievances, and it goes to Sweden, fair enough. And then Egypt gets more victory points. I guess we're kind of okay with that. But we will be starting the World's Fair as well. Generating great person points, we're almost certainly going to win this with our tons and tons of cities. But I just wanted to draw attention, if we kind of come to London and we take a look at, you know, some of the buildings that we have Built-in's not a word. In particular, the food mart is fantastic for us. Food bonus for specialists applies to the city and all specialty districts of the city. So this is helping us to generate a lot of food. You can see we're at plus 31 food, and we are going to start growing really quickly. But a big part of this is trade routes from the city gain plus 1 food if this city is powered. This city is powered, and plus 1 food a trade route when we've made this kind of the mega center, you know, of our nation is going to be absolutely insane. If we take a look at the trade route overview, and we can take a look at, let's see, can we sort by, no, let's sort by origin, and let's take a look at England. Okay, we have 27 trade routes. A lot of these we can pick out what's in London, London, maybe not as many as we would have thought, currently in London. But okay, we have some in Leeds as well. We got London here. These are all going to help us to build really tall with London. And in particular, the extra housing was what we were thinking about for this building tall. Here's the neighborhood. This neighborhood was a +5 neighborhood. Now it's a +6 neighborhood, off the back of getting, you know, the extra appeal from the not Statue of Liberty, the French Statue of Liberty, except the French Statue of Liberty is the French Statue of Liberty, the Eiffel Tower, from Monsieur Eiffel Tower. We get the loud car alarm outside. Big nice on that one. Sarah Breedlove is going to make an excellent great merchant for us if we are trying to win a culture victory here. 25% tourism rate towards other civilizations we have a trade route to. Unfortunately, I don't think we could win a culture victory while we have a culture agreement with Egypt. So next time we have an agreement with which to place, we have to choose to not use that one. But we are going to go ahead and activate her here and start to generate more tourism. Our tourism's currently at 202, and then we activate, and okay, I guess it's targeted that we are generating this much, but it's going to be more effective towards those other groups. Okay, so we are starting to get in some aspects of the mod that are a little bit interesting that I really don't know how they work, which is we can have a machines factory here, and this machines factory would allow us to create a new product in machines. This is a little bit interesting. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work. We could also build Ruhr Valley here, but I don't think we're going to go for that. I think we're going to go for building a machines factory. It also gives an area bonus for production, which is going to be really nice. But I think that what we're going to do also is we're going to build machines factory here in London and look to make it have it build more production. Actually, I think we're okay with them building this botanical garden. We are having a lot of problems with amenities specifically. Our cities are starting to get really big. We're starting to push them really to build taller rather than, you know, necessarily just trying to squeeze out a bunch of different cities or a bunch of small cities. And as they get taller, it gets harder and harder to make everyone happy. So this is an adjustment we're making in a lot of our places. And so I suppose for some like industrial hub type places, we're going to start doing some of these machinist type stuff as we try and figure out what exactly those products are about. Shout out to Dynamite. We're going to be recruiting Alfred Nobel. Everyone knows that who was his most important contribution. Big yikes in Bradford. It's cold. This is probably one of the worst natural disasters we've ever had, killing 2 people and wiping out a ton of the infrastructure we've built there. We'll almost certainly have to move over the governorship of Liang that we have here over there. I think we want to buy 1 more worker out of there, because otherwise we never want to move Liang back here again in any kind of you know, reasonable time. She gives a plus a couple build or +1 build on a worker when they first pop out, and we definitely want to develop this area. Speaking of, in terms of building like tall, we have like, this is going to be a mega farm triangle that we have here. It's not going to be a farm triangle, it's going to be a farm, what is it, heptagon? This is the plan that we have, and so these places should gain up in food very, very quickly here, if we, manage to put all this in the enormous farm adjacencies, and we'll look to feed these to like multiple cities so that each of these cities has 2 or 1 of these. So these 2 will probably go to this city or something like this. So the world war thickens a little bit as war has been declared on Ambria. I'm not sure how his name's pronounced, but he has attacked our ally Egypt, which has pulled us into this conflict. So now we are fighting yet another person down here in the south area. Let's see who, great person though, that we can recruit. Gives us a little bit of progress towards some space stuff. I think we're going to pass on him because this isn't how we're trying to win. But we will be now trying to figure out if we can spare troops to send over here. Certainly... We have Navy already over in kind of some of these regions, although we are getting bombarded by planes every single term in bad Tiberia. They're having a bad time there. But I think that we're just going to start sending surplus Navy that we are constructing over this way. And in particular, we already have some privateers in the area, and we can start really going after some trade routes. We don't want to get nabbed by district defenses, because at this point the Sea Wolves are relatively weak, but we can be just trying to pick off a whole bunch of trade routes between all these guys, and moving guys over so that we can make use of this. I think that we have, I guess maybe we don't have too much Navy kicking around just to move around for that purpose, which is a little bit unfortunate. We have this battleship coming in, which can more or less start picking off on Trabzon, so I suppose we can move over this ironclad and look to get it in position. We are also getting very, very close to making progress over here in Lipqui, or however it's pronounced, and we have started, now that we have finished down on this, we have started now that we finished down on the district, actually we probably want to fully break the district, but now that we have finished the outer defenses of that district, we have begun bombarding the city, but I suppose we will come back and actually finish properly bombarding the district down, and fully destroying it, if that's what's necessary for us to do. And so I thought that they would be out of commission here, but do we need to stomp on the district in order to get it down? We might need to stomp on it. Let's stomp on it. And so now the district has been looted, and so this gives us a kind of free avenue towards Thang Long proper, and so now we're going to begin the long bombardment of that city, which should take a little while, but we have time to spare in order to push the capital. And I think once we push the capital, the rest of them will fall to population pressure. I think it'll be too much. So getting rid of the Statue of Liberty in particular is going to be what's useful for us. Finally, after the long, long siege, it's time to take the city. Lipqui, and we will choose to keep city. And then it is losing loyalty. It'll be disloyal in basically infinite turns. And I'm pretty sure that we have need to repair, or purchase rather, a monument. We will buy the monument next turn when we get a little bit more available gold. And looky, that's going to be a really useful airport, eh? So that is, we're probably going to start buying some airplanes out of this place, as well as, buying upgrades for the airplanes. This type of thing, but that'll give us an awesome opportunity to either keep pushing or perhaps even resolve kind of things with Dido here, in the sense that she has things that we want, and we could maybe try and make a peace with her. She would be willing to accept this deal. We could try and squeeze out as many great works from her as possible, towards the ends that we have. And maybe we look to do something to that effect, but also we can, in theory, keep pushing. But if we decide to stop pushing, this would free up our navy to go and, go after some of these neutral territories that are nearby, or even go further over and fight this Gaelic Empire here, which, to to be fair, I think that they're mainly going to be gummed up fighting, Egypt here, and we don't necessarily have to concern ourselves too much with that. Democracy is going to be fantastic for us. We're super trade route oriented, and getting plus food and production towards allies or suzerains off of that is going to be fantastic. In addition to discount on purchases with gold, which is exactly what we're about. We're exactly about that democracy, and we slot it in. We will need to think about a little bit what it is that we want to come up with for our plan for our government cards, though. So I think we're going to go for 2 Golden Age policies. Let's show them off here, which is we are going to go for reform the coinage. Your traders cannot be plundered. This is nice. International trade routes, which is pretty much all of ours, provide +3 gold per specialty district that it is going to, and also Heartbeat of Steam, plus 10% production towards the industrial era and later wonders. We're not really producing that many. Science, campus districts, science adjacency bonus provides production as well. I don't know if this is really all that much, and perhaps, the economic one that is going to be wonder-oriented, production towards all wonders. Maybe actually this is a little bit better. I think we're going to be trying to push some of the wonders a little bit, and then this will actually... We have a military one that is pretty good, do we not? That gives us adjacency bonuses, in particular for the... Nope, I don't see it. I thought that we had adjacency for industrial districts. I guess it's this. But we will do reform the coinage and also the wonder-oriented one. So we will set that as our agenda, and then we will pass the turn. These guys, the battleship, we can also start pounding on Trabzon. I don't know if that's the best place to be pounding on, but the main idea is that they're just controlling the strait between these two, and controlling with a battleship is just fine. And if we slowly whittle this down while we're doing it, so much the better. And this frees up the ironclad to go and sink trade routes in particular. We're going to be looking over here to control these waters. We've been doing this a lot with, kind of trying to do it. We lost a ship here, but for example, we got this frigate here. We have the entirety of Dido's coast surrounded. We have this here in order to be able to sink trade. I don't think this is the guy. This is Hungary, who we're not at war with, so we can't plunder his trade. But any other trade route that is going in or out of Dido's area, we have been plundering. And so, kind of closing the noose around her to some extent. I imagine next age, she has a bad time. She trips and falls out a window, etc. We complete the Oxford University and get a nice little die roll on whatever text we will receive. 2 free texts from that one. We will get synthetic materials, which incidentally has pharmaceutical plants, which can create a new product as well here, which gives plus 0.5 food per each citizen in the city, and this is a little bit interesting, but it also gives minus gold. I think that's super okay. And then we also get the research for aircraft carrier, destroyer, and discovering uranium, so that's going to be good for us. We're still researching chemistry. Chemistry also unlocks fertilizer plant, yet another one of these kind of like industrial plants here. They have made a little bit of a salvo. They somehow pulled out a whole bunch of units after we destroyed this encampment here. Maybe this was a trigger for the AI where they had the units, but they didn't want to use the units because they feared for the unit's life, and now they don't care for whatever reason. The AI moves and works in mysterious ways, as they say, but we are doing quite well over here, starting to bombard the city, and let's see what great person we have an opportunity to get. +6 loyalty per turn. I don't think that this is great, but we also have an enormous amount of, great person points in this regard. I think we're going to pass on this one, but... I mean, there's maybe a world where we would want to found a city a little bit closer, but I don't think that the loyalty is, in particular, that strong a modifier for us. So we decide to pull up and make peace with Dido in exchange for taking the 2 cities, getting, 7 great works, and we will pay her 152 gold. This seems fine enough, and don't really want to try and push this too much. And she'll say okay to this. She has a little bit of grievances against us, but we pick up Le Pequi, and now our kind of enormous naval force that we've had here for some time now is freed up to do other stuff, like to, I think we're going to land in Groningen. We have a little bit of pressure from these guys and push in here, but also if we have some battleships over here in Bad Tiberia, we can finally start shooting down these silly biplanes that keep on attacking our city and are leaving us feeling very uncomfortable. I certainly feel discomfort in regards to just being nabbed by some sort of, submarine or something like this to just take the city. So I think that'll be good. And also, we could, in theory, decide to start pushing Uruk here instead, or some other spot here. We just don't have enough military to wage war on everyone all at once. And also, I believe when we're at peace, we generate more tourists. Not that I think that they're going to be a problem. They're pretty hemmed in here. Maybe we should have taken the city up here. It's possible. I know they were waiting to get one of their settlers out in Ugarit, and I guess that settler's going to get out now, but that doesn't seem to be too big a problem. We got a nice little bit of space here and a really, really defensible position where I don't think we have to worry about them declaring on us, because I don't think that they are really going to ever push through something like what we have here. We're probably just going to take this artillery, we're going to park it here, and we're just not going to worry about things, because they would have to push through a one-tile thing, and we would just start buying a bunch of stuff in Lipqui if we ever encountered any sort of serious problem. So 1 down, 3 to go. Alright, we've produced a great work in the form of mass-produced machines. So let's take a look. We do see these are our products that we can slot in here. We don't quite have a themed building yet. We're working on it. Shout out to us. And I don't see the machine parts anywhere. Where are machined parts? I'm not sure I understand. But we were ravaged by a natural disaster. Let's add a proposal. Huh. That's weird. Okay, we don't have eyes. It's here in London. The Trade Dock Wharf is providing 3 production, 1 tourism, and +1 production to all improved tiles in the city. That seems pretty good. It's in London here, and it's on Showcase. So we have, not an enormous amount of improved tiles in London, but that is going to at least be something. So that is a great work that we have produced, and I do believe we have slots for it, but we can move it around if we want. We can create more machine parts here in London if we so choose. We just researched the ability to get stadiums, and what is really, really kind of the case for us is that we are suffering from lack of amenities in a ton of our cities. So I think we are going to try and push those in particular out of London. Look at London's freaking radius. We are now stretching out very nearly every 4 tile distance. Actually, if this is the next one we're getting, that's more than 4 tiles away. Really, really kind of pushing the boundaries. But I do think we're getting, look, 172 culture return, but 1,000 gold return. A huge amount for us here in London. So after quite some time, we finally get our great Admiral Matthew Perry down to Nan Madol, which if we are suzerain of it, your districts next to coast or lake tiles provide +2 culture. We seem to have a lot of things next to coast or lakes. By a lot, I mean very nearly every building we own is next to a coast. Well, okay, it's not that bad, but like, for example, this canal's a district, this is a district, this is a district, this is a district. This isn't a district because it's a wonder, but that's just talking canals. Next to a lake, next to a lake, next to an oasis, next to the coast, next to the coast, next to the coast because it's in the ocean, next to the coast, next to the coast, not yet built. Shout out to that campus district never getting built ever. But if we were suzerain of this would be great. It's currently suzerain is Matthias Corvinus, but good old Matthew Perry here allows us to convert it to ours and get rid of all of his guys as well. So we are going to use this in order to grant enough to become suzerain, and then removes all players' envoys. on Nan Madal here, which we will seize that from them, which is going to be fantastic for us. This guy had escorted them all the way through. I think we'll start heading on back, but that is going to be good for us. Also, we will gain all the bonuses kind of associated with having 6 envoys sent with these guys, which is to get a whole bunch of extra culture ourselves. We should have read how much culture we had before we did that, but I imagine that was a pretty big jump for us. It might need to apply next turn as kind of the way it works out. I think that if we have a single one of these that we're at 5 with, we would push it up to 6, but we don't see that except for here. We'll push that up to 6, and that will also give us more culture as well in Opera House, Grand Hotel, and Chancery buildings. So really starting to... Oh my Jesus. Did it just recalculate off of... After we pushed it up to one more level? It had to have been recalc. Us gaining +1 thing on them would not have given us +300, but I think the +300 is from Nan Madal, which is going to be an absolutely insane amount of culture. We'll be blitzing through everything here as far as this goes. In fact, we might even want to just like not wait to get the Eureka on capitalism, because, I mean... I think it would be better for us just to get this in a little bit faster. We'll also have market agency at his building, so why don't we research capitalism straight away, and this is going to be a pretty big come up for us. I think we're starting to get to the point where, you know, okay, we're not quite there yet on the culture thing, but we are getting a really, really big enough foundation to kind of push for this pretty quickly, I think. We move our troops over to Groningen, and since they are relatively backward, it's pretty easy for us to just swoop in there and take them. I said it's pretty easy for us to just swoop in there and take them. Well, I thought we were going to get them this turn, but we low-rolled it. We will be getting them next turn. They can't really do much against our army, you know, with crossbowmen against battleships, as it were. Our individual trade routes are starting to get monstrously lucrative off the back of all the bonuses we've been stacking, including, you know, what we're passing through, stuff in particular specific to London, the cards we are slotting in. We're getting 95 gold per turn, in addition to 15 food and 14 production, a bunch of, culture as well. London is absolutely massive, 1,200 a turn, plus 71 food. It is growing at an amazing clip. We're probably going to need to add another neighborhood here soon, really becoming like the cultural center of the world, and I cannot fathom them not winning the #1 city in the world when the next age hits. So we have an interesting choice here in Bristol, where our amusement pier that we have built right here, we can either build a cruise terminal, which would help more with the amenities, which we are having a problem with, or an aquatic center, which will give us more tourism, or +2 if the population is 10 or higher, and +5 if the population is 20 or higher, which is kind of a tough choice. I'm not really sure how much more coverage we will get if we do +9 versus +6, like we haven't counted it out. But considering this is like in the very middle of our empire, I think the breakpoints will generally be kind of good for us, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... Not quite reaching Nottingham, but I don't think it can reach London now with 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it could with 7, 8, 9. But we are building one up here, which this could also reach London. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so I think that we'll actually go for the aquatic center, because I think that Bristol will end up being higher pop than Exeter. But I'm not entirely sure. We had run some trade routes out of Bristol. I think it's a good location for trade routes, but we're going to go for the tourism route, which probably isn't bad considering we're trying to win a culture victory here anyway. The armies of jealous civilizations failed to stop us. What started last episode is no longer going to bother us any longer. Interesting to see some of these new buildings like Convention Center, which extends amenities to 9 tiles. This is very similar to the other one, just for, in particular, the land-based version. And we also have the research station, which I think we have a way we can put it in. We also finished one of these, which we're having a hard time kind of we built a lot of factories which block chem plants, which we need to build the other types, but we managed to spit out another, in Hull, another one of these, which gives 3 production and +1 tourism. This is pretty good. It's on all improved tiles in the city as well, get +1 production, which just seems really fantastic. So, like, these tile improved, +1 production, or that's Portsmouth, Hull. So we have, plus production on all this farm triangle here, plus production, this is improved, plus production. Really, really seems quite strong. And seems like, it can scale really well. Even if we had a small empire, if we were very strategic about it, we could probably scale some of these things up. We have been bombarding them. We have been bombarding them for, like, forever now. And we are almost through kind of the outer defenses here. Just kind of... I mean, I think that it's possible we're just supposed to build, like, way more tanks and, like, go in and, like, this type of thing. But this is a hyper-safe, hyper-slow way of doing things, and I think it'll be probably next turn that we are able to do something. Now, we took Groningen over here, but it is flipping, and I don't think there's anything we can do to stop it from flipping. So we're going to have to change our strategy up and just go for Amsterdam, I think, with what we have, and try and break out here with this infantryman we purchased. And then recapture Groningen after, because it's not quite going to cut it. Unfortunately, this guy has taken a bit of damage. In fact, why don't we move him down here, where he can't get shot out by the cannons and such as well, unless there are more cannons over here. And I guess we'll just have to slowly work down Groningen or work down Amsterdam. Amsterdam had way more defense than Groningen. This is why we kind of wanted to go in on Groningen first. But at the very least, we're going to kill a bunch of units this way. I can't remember if we purchase a unit here, I can't remember if it breaks our... If we just full out lose the unit, I think it ejects the unit, so we could just buy ourselves a battleship or something like this here and be able to make use of it, which is... Ooh, a helicopter. Shout out to that. Tank might be even better, so we're going to buy a tank, and then next turn we will be able to just retake Groningen again, but I think that we won't even do that. I think we'll wait until we can capture Amsterdam here, because that will give us a lot more pop pressure, and maybe we even start shooting Utrecht before we take Amsterdam. We just lower the defenses here, and then look to take both at the same time, and then we should have enough pressure so that it won't be a problem. We're finally going to take the city. I said we're finally going to take the city. Hot damn. We are, of course, I think, going to keep this city. We made this city, and now, as expected, they are losing loyalty there. They're not losing loyalty here, but perhaps after Hualu flips away from them, they might start losing loyalty. And so this is kind of how you collapse an empire. You just take the capital, which sounds fairly straightforward, and the reason why is it is. So it's actually just, they just don't have anything else left here to work with. I think we'll just shoot that out. Might as well. This actually helps them because now they're not paying as much money, but that is how things are going on that front. On this front, we're getting clapped a little bit. I mean, we are going to continue shooting Amsterdam, and there's not a whole lot they can do about it, but we did lose Groningen, and now the troops that we had bought may be a little bit of a waste. Maybe we could get them out of there into some safe squares, actually. Yeah, if we can get these guys onto some safe squares, they can heal up elsewhere. This guy's probably toasted though. But this tank looks like it will survive, at least for the time being, and we'll just park him on that island and have him heal up, and then we will be pushing in on Amsterdam here. We have bought a couple biplanes, and we are building an airport over here, and we'll park those biplanes in there because we keep getting bombarded, and so that should be able to help us out. This is strategically a pretty important spot because it allows us to eventually gain control of this island, I think, but also in terms of people who have decent tech or who are technically ahead of us in tech, Gilgamesh is ahead of us in tech. We have twice as much science per turn, but he is ahead of us in tech somehow still. I'm not sure exactly how that works, and he's been beating us down with planes, but if we get the planes, we can shift over from here fairly easily to being over here. didn't mean to click that. We can't shift over from here fairly easily, though. So I'm thinking we look to try and keep the war with them. Suleiman's not interested in ending a war, so that's not very good. Although, you know what we might do here is we don't need to even take Hue. We can just bypass it and go to Tra Q. However this is pronounced. I think we can surround that much easier. Or even a city like Pest, although that's maybe a little bit more of a push. And if we take this city, then Hue definitely doesn't have enough sort of pressure to avoid collapse, in the same way that Hualu doesn't have enough loyalty pressure to avoid collapse. We're also in Saigon building a civic square for the purposes of building specifically one of the buildings that reduces the pressure. I think we have one of them in here, in Dong Hoi. If we take a look at the city details, we should be able to take a look at it. And the Grand Hotel is the one we're thinking of. You can definitely see it. It gives plus, more in good appeal, which we have because of the French Statue of Liberty, and also grants tourism +1 loyalty pressure in the city to other cities within 9 tiles. So that is a Hualu. If it's only down +8, or it's down -8, but it was down -8 instead of -7 as a result of the building in Dong Hoi. So we could maybe try and facilitate pushing more of those if that would help. Or we could just, use our military, but man, oh man, does it take forever to take a city like this. Just bombarding it for forever until it no longer has any walls. So we put Magnus down here in Blackburn, and since we have so much gold, we are going to start buying settlers out of here. We do need to move this builder first, but that's not a problem, and we are going to purchase with gold settlers starting out of here. We can get 1 settler worth of gold a turn. I'm not sure how much we're going to in particular push this per turn, but we are going to settle over there, and then next turn we're going to buy another settler and settle over down here, especially because we're right next to that aluminum, and this will feel pretty good, and this will give us a base of operations from which to the only person who we're kind of afraid of, even the slightest bit, is going to be this guy here, which is Gilgamesh. We have to just make sure that we don't lose in particular. I mean, we have this game to some extent locked up here, but we have to make sure that we don't lose. Like a science victory, we're leading in this, but Gilgamesh is doing all right as well, I guess. Well, he's got 48. Wow, we're so far ahead in terms of stuff researched. I suppose diplomatic victory is another way we could lose to Cleopatra in this way. So maybe this is something to kind of keep an eye on, but I think we're in pretty good shape, and we maybe don't need to worry about it, especially because we have a ton of diplo points, and so we can give ourselves points or deny points to someone else, and so maybe this is kind of like a trivial position here. But it is really nice because this city, first of all, is growing incredibly quickly as a result of having this giant farm, some sort of shape. It's not a triangle because it's way bigger than that. It's 2 overlapping triangles, but also with Magnus here, we're just going to buy out enough guys. I think we might even go for Candy sometime reasonably soon, because all of our army is kind of in this region, and so if we aren't going to do something about this guy, then maybe that's reasonable. Also, we don't have a good way to get all of our airplanes over here, which is not something I considered, because I thought they could just rebase, and they didn't care about distance, but they care about distance. So we have a biplane here, and we got a biplane here, and we're going to be able to slowly ship them over to here. But then from here, I don't know if we can bridge the gap all the way over to here. I don't think we can. I mean, maybe we can from here to here to here. Something like this. Maybe they get a little bit more distance once we upgrade them to regular fighters, and they get a little bit more range, something like this. We don't have, I think, any aluminum yet, but that'll be interesting. Souvenirs factory is a little bit interesting as well. It allows us to produce souvenirs. I'm not sure exactly what souvenirs do, but we have another factory kind of coming in that's a little bit interesting. That's a museum of archaeology. That's a different type of factory. That's a factory of things long past that are no longer to be built. But we are building an electronics factory, and the electronics give us 5% science, 5% culture, and 5% faith, which is really strong, but enemy spies operate at a higher kind of level than before. So If we take a look at souvenirs, it's 25% tourism pressure from the city towards other civilizations of the modern era. But -1 amenity in the city and -1 from every district in the city adjacent to a wonder. Okay. So we maybe look to stack souvenirs in London, if London is applying the absolute most pressure, and in maybe this entire triangle, Nottingham, Plymouth, London, because they do have a lot of stuff inside of their civic squares that we have going on, and maybe that's something we want to play towards in particular. We're also kind of gearing up some of these flood barriers just in case the world gets a little too hot, a little bit too toasty, but we haven't really been using much power that's not free. We have almost everything from renewable sources because we have a city-state which is giving us some, and then another thing which is giving us more if we already have some or something like this. So I mean, we're using quite a bit in London, but in a lot of these places we're not actually consuming power, so we're not actually burning a tremendous amount of coal. We're only burning 9 for power. To be fair, we're slowly losing coal, and this will maybe be a problem later, but we currently have quite a bit of coal, and we're only losing 1 per turn, so we're in good shape. We are trying to push any wonder that we can, even if it's silly or perhaps not that useful. We build a Golden Gate Bridge to kind of nowhere here, right here. We are also in the process of searching for volcanoes, and we are making, in particular, a nice little, natural parks around these. I think that, do we have to manage the citizens and swap all the tiles to be that way? I think we might, and so any place where all of our tiles would get bricked anyways, as a result of, being destroyed by the volcano, we might as well make a nice little natural park. Shout out to Yellowstone before it, blows up and kills everyone. And also, we've done this over here. We're going to search for some more volcanoes, in particular, to try and push up our tourism as much as possible. Eventually, we switch over to being rock bands. To the end of doing that, we have now with her a religious alliance, so we are generating a ton of faith per turn. All those cities that are +4, that's just from the trade route, and we are getting an enormous amount just from trade routes. Eventually we will be recruiting rock bands, but for now it's going to be a little bit more efficient for us to go for volcanoes, or just to look for places to put good natural parks. The way that we seeded this map in particular is absolutely terrible for natural parks, because there's never 2 mountains next to each other. They're just all over the place, and so it's not really we don't have as many good normal opportunities for these. To be fair, we maybe should plant... No, we shouldn't plant forests because the volcanoes are going to destroy them. But we will be on the lookout for any volcanoes that are in our territory that we're not currently using for the purposes of this. We are going to add it. Although we might have just hit kind of the only 2 volcanoes in our territory. But these natural parks will help to give us some tourism. Rockefeller is going to be a fantastic, great merchant for us. 3 oil, which we were kind of running low on. We are currently losing oil per turn. And also, +2 gold for each strategic resource at the destination of the city, which is in terms of trade. We also gain access to another one, Antonio Carlos Gomez. Don't really know who he is, but we'll recruit him as well. Just kind of a wave as we enter this modern era, a wave of guys that we can recruit up. You can see they're all clamoring up in here, but in particular, the one that we want to relocate, as it were, we want to transfer this guy all the way down to Amsterdam, because Amsterdam's got some problems, and that guy will make a sub for free, and we really have to... We should have shot down Utrecht a little bit more than we did, but we didn't, and so this is kind of on us, but I think that we are going to... Ooh, we can't buy a battleship. Why not? Too many units of the same class. Got it. But you can move next turn. See, this only has, in particular, it's a little bit annoying, it only has 3 turns until it flips. Now we could keep on taking it, but in terms of loyalty, we can keep on capturing it. But Every time we capture it, it's going to drop and pop. There's too much pressure from kind of the neighboring cities here. We can see that we have 10 pressure and the Free Cities has 35. But if we take Utrecht, then we will have, I think, enough pressure. And so what we can do is we can get ourselves a free, a free sub with that gentleman, and then maybe buy a battleship and start pew-pewing this. We have some navy over here. We were going for Groningen. Groningen has, 77 defense, so we probably should have just ignored it and sent everyone over to Utrecht, and that's going to be what we do next turn. And hopefully we can establish a little bit of a base here, especially because they have some wonders that they have been produced. Back in the days when the Netherlands was cool, they produced some wonders, and so this is going to help out with our tourism count, which is, victory at 65 turns, approximately speaking, and that's kind of assuming that we don't do stuff like globalize really hard. And I think that we have some civics coming up, like social media, that are going to make it a lot easier, to push all this type of stuff. So we are kind of getting close to the finish line here. All right, I think we're going to be able to pull this off, which is important because if we take the city and then it flips like Groningen, it's going to have way more garrison defense. And so if we don't manage to take this city and at least slow down Amsterdam's kind of decline here, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble. We also upgraded this armada to a destroyer before they were ironclad, so 102 offense is pretty nice with every single upgrade. We had created 2 ironclad units and went different paths, and then when you merge them you get all the upgrades, so this is how we got the +7. I'm not sure when that was exactly, but here we should be able to take this city, and then once we take this city, the loyalty becomes much more manageable, or it should. It should. Yeah, okay, it's even positive. Now the loyalty here is net negative, but it's disloyal in 4 turns. Which is a little bit of time for us to get stuff done, like finishing this monument. And also, let's see, how much is it per turn? It is 13 per turn, so we should be able to assign Magnus here. Magnus was over there, now he's going to be here, because we may be even wanting to buy units out from here. And now we can go for all these other kind of places. This place, you notice, only has 40 defense, and so we should be able to nab that really quick. Groningen's kind of the awkward one because it has so much defense, but this has 40 defense, this has 57, so these are really, really manageable numbers. So I think we're going to try and, work our way over. And time is, to some extent, of the essence here, but that is, that's a bingo there, knocking them out in one go. And then after we take Mashhad, I think that, I hope that we're okay in Utrecht. We have Rebellion in 10 turns. We don't have Rebellion. Oh, wait. No, wait. That one, the tooltip lies on this one. This one's getting 5, so we do need to get some adjacency pressure. But Mashhad, I think, is the highest pop city that is not currently owned. We're also going to go for Matana. Incidentally, we're probably going to move Liang as well, so we can move Liang over here. Because we really want to nab this oil anyways, so that'll work out pretty well for us. And so it looks like we're just kind of moving in to the land that was left unoccupied by the Netherlands here as a result of their failures, their abject failures. Here's Stonehenge, big nice on that one. Okay, I think we are about to equalize this region. Amsterdam and Utrecht are safe, but Matana is on the chopping block here, but we are about to take Mashhad, so I think, Mashhad. I think once we take this, we will be in good enough shape to be able to not need any sort of extra assistance here. And there we go. So now here is losing loyalty, but this should no longer... Oh, they're still losing loyalty. It's not going to be in one turn, but in a few turns they will get... What is in here that is like... What is here that is like significantly decreasing loyalty? I guess there must be a big city down here that we can't see. Something like this. It looks like there's some kind of city. Well, let's look at the pressure from Mashhad. Where is it exactly coming from? 31 from Free Cities, a little bit from Hungary, I guess it's just free cities. Wow. Is there just a massive block of free cities? We see that Groningen is like flipping our way faster than the other one. Well, this place will be kind of in okayish shape if it can grow a single... Here, let's do this. It doesn't matter. Can we give it better tiles? No, we can't right now. Shoot. We needed to move Liang over there earlier, I suppose. For Mashhad, I think that we could manage citizens and lock them in on trying to grow Mashhad. But this is going to flip in significantly less than... Oh, man. Does it matter if we keep the city? Does it change the math on this? No, it's still going to be 3 turns. This one is significantly longer now, but we have to somehow take another city, and I just don't think that that would be possible here. I mean, we could try and get the tank in the action. We could buy a bunch of units out of here, but I don't know where the next city is exactly, let alone, you know, have the ability to take it. I suppose we could buy a unit here and try and troubleshoot this a little bit. The unit that's going to be the best for this is going to be probably a tank army, which we could purchase straight out. And, okay, it doesn't really give us vision of what we need, but we know that there's maybe something over here. I mean, it has an airport, so it probably is relatively big. Shoot. Well, that's unfortunate. I guess we're going to save that kind of for next episode. Another thing, we had flooding occur in a couple of areas, really debilitating them, really starting to build a lot of flood barriers everywhere because the cost only increases. Like, so for example, this tile got bricked in Norwich until we repaired the floodgate. And some of these cities got really hurt by this, like the Vatican City. I'm not sure exactly why they were hurt so much from this. Oh wait, they had a snowstorm come through at the same time. Maybe that, yeah, and it destroyed like all their infrastructure. So we've had to move trade routes back to places to get them up and going, you know, kind of a little bit here. Like for example, we cannot repair this because it's underwater. It's submerged, the industrial zone here, and so we had to move trade routes back to Stoke-upon-Trent to try and get this above water before our next the next flooding incident. And so this is a little bit unfortunate for us. We have flood barriers coming in though, and so that should be able to handle all this. Like for example, Newcastle upon Tyne almost certainly will be able to, I said almost certainly, we'll be able to build a flood barrier here, and so we'll focus on getting those through as best we can. But for now, I think we're going to conclude the episode. This episode, we really kind of, I mean, we pushed Dido a little bit, not too much, but then we've kind of more focused our efforts towards this expansion spot because I think it's a lot softer, and I think it plays better for what how we're trying to win our victory condition here. But running into a little bit of trouble in being able to keep this, so maybe we have to capture Mashhad repeatedly. And maybe we just have to go for this city while trying to capture Mashhad and then come back and it is what it is on this. I'm not entirely sure. But kind of emerging on the modern stage, getting into shooting distance of the win here. We will... didn't they have a time estimate here? In terms of how long before... I guess we don't have the time estimate currently, but we are getting closer and closer to victory here, so pushing this victory type. And in particular, we're going to try and get a lot of tourism, specifically on Cleopatra. That way we will be able to, we will send a lot of rock bands her way and this sort of thing, because she is the most resistant towards this. And so we are moving in the right direction. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, you know, do the YouTube algorithm thing. And other than that, February 11th, we will be streaming this game. Anyways, have a good day. Bye-bye now.